Our next award today will be presented by Bill Vantuana, editor of Railway Age magazine. Bill, would you please come join me on the stage?
Okay, thank you very much. Very happy to be here. We've been giving these awards out for a long time. I've been with the magazine 24 years, and the Short Line and Regional Railroads of the Year awards have been actually originated with a magazine that we acquired back in 1992, and that was Modern Railroads. I don't know how many of you remember that publication. Oh, okay, there's a few hands out there. Okay. So, what I'll do is, these are always tough choices to make because we get a lot of good entries, and it's just outstanding. The entrepreneurial, is this a word? Entrepreneurialism. Marketing savvy, safety focus, what have you. It's just amazing what the small railroads can do. So I'd like to start with our short line of the year, and that is and I'll say this as probably as it's said down in New Orleans, the New Orleans and Gulf Coast Railway, or the New Orleans and Gulf Coast Railway. Scott Wallach is the general manager, and what this railroad did, it's realized a 50% improvement in train velocity, while adding new customers, expanding facilities, and doing all of that with no FRA reportable injuries. So I just want to read just a quick quote from the article that we published. It's in our March issue, which hopefully you've read. From their entry, the New Orleans and Gulf Coast has adjusted its entire operations in the past couple of years, and the results have been remarkable. From 2012 to the present, the railroad's velocity numbers have almost been cut in half. For a 32-mile line that typically operates Monday through Friday from 6 o'clock in the morning to midnight, to have its release to interchange with the Union Pacific average a little more than 1 day is quite impressive. And most important point here, it takes a team effort for even just one car to turn its wheels. So Scott is here, and I'd like to welcome him to accept this award. Okay. Our regional railroad of the year is the Central Maine and Quebec Railway, and before I introduce the people here from the railroad who are recipients, I'd like to tell you a bit about this remarkable operation. I don't think any of us will ever forget the day the oil train runaway and wreck that occurred in Lac-Mégantic, Quebec. I was on vacation at that time, and I got word of it, and I spent a considerable amount of time on the rest of my vacation just chasing down the facts, what happened. And actually, that incident really turned the whole industry on its ear. A lot of things came out of that with safety regulations and new tank car regulations, and I have to say that I and the rest of my staff spent the better part of 2 years covering this intensely. And so when we received this application from the Central Maine and Quebec, I read what they're doing up in Maine, And I just have one word to describe it. It's just wow. You know, it's just really something. So just briefly, again, I'll read from the application. Now they did a lot of work. You know, to restore service. They invested more than $22 million in track and infrastructure improvements. They were faced with a neglected infrastructure that included more than 230 miles of mainline track with a 10-mile-an-hour speed restriction, multiple Transport Canada notices and orders, but most important, and this is the key here, the formidable goal of earning back the trust of the public, the customers, employees, and connecting carriers. So here is the thing that really got to me when I read this from their application. Once the track in Lochmagonagh was reconnected, the Central Maine and Quebec negotiated a social compact with the town of Lochmagonagh that included open communication with the mayor and the promise not to operate hazardous goods through the city until our 2014 capital improvements were completed, and we were satisfied that the tracks were safe to handle those commodities. The transport of hazardous commodities has resumed through the town, but our railroad, out of respect for the residents of Lochmagonagh, is not handling crude oil through the town in 2016. In a recent article in the Bangor Daily News, Conrad Lebrun, Director of Buildings and Projects for Lochmagonagh, agreed that the Central Maine and Quebec and the city have developed a good working relationship. I quote, "It is good," he said, "we have access to the railroad's representatives. When we need to, we call them, and they call us right back, and we work issues out well. We expect it to keep going on in the future." So I want to welcome, and please, I think these folks deserve a standing ovation. Ryan Ratledge, Gaynor Ryan, and Harold Tynes from the Central Maine and Quebec Railway. Come on, folks. Up, up.